Hi guys, in today's review we'll be looking at this newly tooled Hornby Lner Thompson Pacific locomotive, and this one is Edward Thompson number 500, and this is a A2/3 in apple green. It does look stunning from this angle, so yeah, let's get into the video and see what it's all about, shall we? So as we start off at the detail bag, because you get one with the loco, you can see you get some brake rigging, which I think's for the tender. It could be for the loco, I'm unsure at this point in time. You also get some drain cocks as well, which are nicely painted. And you also get some steps that go at the buffer beam at the front of the locomotive. As we move on to the front of the locomotive does have metal sprung buffers, which you expect at this day and age as well. We also have a hook and a vacuum pipe already applied, which is nice. There's no chain link coupling in there or nothing like that. We also have the number of the loco and the classification, I believe, which is number is 500. Buffer beams are in red, and the housing for the buffers are black. Like I said, the buffer beams are metal. As we move up a little bit, you also have the lamp irons. You have 3 at the bottom. We also have something that looks like lights as well, fitted to the locomotive as well. We also have some bracing, which is smoothly applied to the front of the locomotive. As we move up a little bit further, we have the smoke reflectors already applied, separately applied as well with handrails. This is Edward Thompson, the name of this locomotive. They don't look like to be separately applied, as they'll be printed on there, the nameplate does. We also have a handrail at the top with some rivets. We also have a smoke box dart. The door does not open, but it's not really a bad thing. It's a money saving thing. We also have a lamp iron, and right at the top in the chimney we have a light. As we move on to the side of the locomotive, both sides of the locomotive are different. On this side we have the nameplate on both sides. Like I said before, it's not hex or anything, it is printed. A very fine printing too. You've got to see the handrails as well. As we move down a bit, we have the nice looking bogie at the front here. The wheels do have lining as well. We also see lots of rivets as well. And something that looks like mud guards for the wheels. I don't know the exact word for them, but it's a nice touch. Hornby did that. They could have easily missed that out. As we move across a bit, we do have the cylinders, which are high up. This Edward Thompson design is how he did it. The valve going on looks fine too. The wheels again are lined with a white lining. We also have I think it's a plastic reverser there. This one is straight as well. Also, the running board has a red lining on it as well, and it is straight, may I add. We also have some bits and bobs for oil and sanding gear, which I believe lubrications and all that. Moving on to the livery. The livery is apple green, and it's a white black lining. We also have the number of the loco, which is 500. On the cab side, we also have glazing in that too, and a shield for the driver or fireman, depending on which side they are. And then we also at the top, we also have safety valves and whistles, which the safety valves are metal and the whistle is plastic. And it does look a little bit out of place, if I'm honest with you, but that's the only negative on this side. As we move on to the other side of the loco, the only difference I can see is no reverser rod around here, but I could be wrong. Like a lot of it's all the same around the other side. We do have some washout plugs, some are picked out, some are not. Near the cab area itself, we also have some steps dotted around on the running board as well. The rear pony truck, as I want to call it, is not movable, it's fixed. But it is some wonderful lining on the axles there. It is well done. As we move up to the cab area itself, as we know, it's got glazing and it's also got a shield for the driver or fireman. We have the number of the loco, which is 500. Then we also have a builder's plate, I believe, at either side of the cab as well, next to some washout plugs and rivets. As we move on to the cab area and the front of the tender, as I want to call it, the cab area itself is highly detailed. Like I said, got glazing in there. The tender and loco does have handrails for the cab, and also via the window as well. In the cab itself, everything's painted. The dials don't have any detail on, but they are painted white, and most things in there are painted wonderful to a high spec. There's some sort of wood flooring going on there, but it's painted black. We also have the shields to stop the driver and fireman falling out. I don't think there's any removable connection between the tender and loco, like to stop them falling through the gap. There might be, I might have missed it. We move on to the tender itself. It's paisley green, but there's a few bits picked out on the tender. It's not a bad job, and there's some handrails as well. As we move on to the tender, Both sides of the tender are exactly the same with this fantastic lining in apple green, which is white, black, white. Does look very nice. We also have the shadowing of the Lner lettering as well. Top stuff there from Hornby. You can see lots of rivets too, I believe. I hope the camera picks it up. The tender is like crisscross with rivets everywhere. As we move down a little bit more, we have the axle boxes. They are picked out with a red lining as well, a bit like the rear bogie truck. It is nice, and we have some steps either side of the tender too. As we move on to the back of the tender, the back of the tender is like the rest of the loco, really nicely done. Very lovely printed livery on this, I must say. We do have metal sprung buffers like the front. We also have a small tension lock coupling as well, a small hook, a vacuum pipe as well. There, as we move into the bigger area of the tender, we also have 3 steps going up. Also have a handrail at the top. I think that's to help the crew get onto the top to do the water. We also have 3 lamp irons at the bottom, 1 in the middle. There's no lighting situation like these on the front around this side, as far as I can see. We have that lining again, which looks nice, and some rivets too. As we do a bird's eye view of the tender is pretty nice from up here, if I'm honest with you. We do have the water hole where you put the water in, cap filler as well is detailed. As we move across, the coal load is pretty nice. I'm unsure if it's removable or not and if there's anything under there. So I do apologise about that, but it still looks fine to me. As we do a bird's eye view of the top of the locomotive, working at the cab area first, we do have the rain ducts, and it is painted black. We also have some rivets as well. The vents on top do move, which is a nice touch. You can also see the lining of the loco, which is apple green with white, black, white again. Whistles and safety valves. The safety valves are metal, the whistle is plastic, which, yeah, I know. We do have looks like a mould line, but it could be wrong. That is there near the dome. The dome is separately applied. So move towards the front. They do have double chimneys, but just before that, we also have looks like 2 superheaters, which could be wrong, and the smoke deflectors are separately applied as well. You can see the handrails running down either side of the locomotive too. As we look underneath the chassis of the locomotive, starting off at the front bogie, there's no place to put any couplings on it at all. We just have something to knock stuff off the rails by the looks of it. It does swing pretty loose, if I'm honest, and like that. So it's not too bad. Moving across to the base plate. The base plate is highly detailed. It has some sanding gear and stuff and brake shoes on there too, which is very nice. We also have 4 screws by the looks of it to remove, to get to the wipers or anything you want to clean underneath that. We also have some axle stuff, springs, so yeah, it's not too bad. Speaking of pickups, we looks like at least 3 of the 6 main driving wheels have it. Does look pretty nice too. Can't see the rear pony truck, but that is flangeless, and a screw to remove it if you want to add something else, but Hornby didn't give you a choice. And finally, as we move on to the tender, let's start off at the connection between the loco and tender. Yes, it's a plug and 2 screws. I do like this method from Hornby. It's one of the better ones. The wheels in the tender do have pickups by the looks of it, and they are metal. We can also see a water scoop too. And there's also some screws there if you want to remove the base plate as well. So yeah guys, that's it on the track. I'll just give you a bit more information about the model. The model is DCC ready, and it takes an 8 pin if you want to DCC it. The motor is a 5-pole screw round motor, which is nice, and it has pickups on the tender as you saw in the detail part. So that's on the track. So next up will be second radius test. See if we can do second radius. Hornby say it can, and also do points. See how well it can manage them too. Pretty impressive for DC. What was it? Not even before the 20 on the controller. It's about 18. Managed that pretty well and pretty smooth as well. Seems a nice runner, slow speed. So yeah, we managed them points in the second radius fantastically, if I'm honest with you. I do like it when locos seem to do second radius. The points were pretty slow, pretty enjoyable. So yeah, next up will be a running session and I'll see you at the end. So here comes some slow speed. Not bad, about 15 I'd say. And DC is pretty nice, lovely runner. So yeah, that's the end of the review. Give you my opinion in a minute. Just show you what it's running, as you can tell. So the Hornby teaks that Hornby used to do. Very nice. Thompson ones, these are not the Grizzly ones. This is a wonderful locomotive, highly recommend one for Lner fans or anyone really. Mine has a scuff mark on the boiler near the whistles and safety valves, but it's not really noticeable when it goes around, so I'm not really fussed. Fantastic, everything is fantastic about this, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Probably end up buying another one at some point. That good. I am a big Lner fan. Is it worth the price tag? Yeah. I want to say the only issue I have, apart from the scuff, is probably the livery. Looks a little bit light. I think the apple green should be a bit darker, going by the other Hornby locomotives that I have. And that's the only issue I have. Highly recommend them. Good runner, no issues. Ran it for 5 hours, no issues whatsoever. Nothing's bent on it, so yeah, highly recommend it. That's only my opinion, and I think I give an honest review. I hope so anyway, if I come across that way. So yeah guys, that's the end of the review. It's goodbye from this beauty, and it's goodbye from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.